I never thought I'd be the kind of woman to ask her stepson for help. Not like this. I had always prided myself on being independent, strong, and capable. But life has a way of humbling even the most self-assured, and when the moment came, I had no one else to turn to. What surprised me more than anything was how he didn't even hesitate. My name is Rachel, and I've been married to David for 7 years now. He came into my life when I was freshly divorced, vulnerable, and a little bitter about love. He was kind, patient, and exactly the kind of man I needed at the time. He had a son from a previous marriage, Ryan, who was 17 when I first met him. At first, Ryan and I barely spoke. He was quiet and distant, wrapped up in his headphones or locked in his room with his video games. I didn't push him. I figured he was just adjusting, as most teenagers do when a new step-parent enters the picture. But deep down, I hoped that one day he would open up to me. Years passed, and Ryan went off to college. He'd come back for holidays and breaks, and over time, something in our relationship shifted. It wasn't dramatic, just subtle, small moments. Like the time he noticed I was struggling to carry a heavy box and rushed to help me without being asked. Or the way he started asking me how work was going, genuinely interested in my response. He wasn't just my husband's son anymore. He was becoming a part of my world, too. But things at home with David were changing. He'd grown cold, distant. We argued over little things, and when we weren't arguing, we were just silent. I tried to talk to him, but he was always too tired, too busy, or glued to his phone. I had this growing, gnawing sense that I wasn't enough for him anymore, that I had become more of a roommate than a wife. I didn't want to believe it, but the signs were everywhere. I found receipts for hotel rooms he never told me about. Late-night phone calls he'd hang up when I walked into the room. And then one day, the worst confirmation of all, an open message thread on his laptop, filled with flirty, emotional texts to someone named Trina. She wasn't just a fling.
She knew about me.
He spoke of me like I was some obligation he had to tolerate. My world crumbled. I didn't confront him right away. Instead, I went into autopilot. I still cooked dinner. I still folded his laundry. I still smiled when neighbors waved. But inside, I was slowly falling apart. That's when Ryan came home for spring break. I hadn't planned on telling him anything. I didn't want to drag him into adult problems. But one evening, after a particularly tense dinner where David barely looked up from his phone, Ryan lingered in the kitchen while I was cleaning up. "Is everything okay with you and Dad?" he asked softly. I froze, a plate still in my hand. "Why would you ask that?" He shrugged. "Just the way he talks to you. Or doesn't. It feels off. I've noticed it for a while." The tears I had been holding back for weeks came rushing out all at once. I didn't mean to cry in front of him. I really didn't. But there I was, crumpling to the floor beside the dishwasher, sobbing like I hadn't in years. Ryan immediately dropped down beside me, wrapping his arms around me. "I'm so sorry," he whispered. "You don't deserve this." Those words hit me harder than I expected. Maybe it was just the comfort of being heard, or maybe it was the kindness I hadn't felt from anyone in so long. But in that moment, I didn't feel like his stepmom. I just felt like a human being, broken and tired, and finally letting go. Over the next few days, Ryan stayed close. He helped around the house, took over cooking dinner a few nights, even went grocery shopping with me. He made me laugh again. He reminded me what it felt like to be noticed. Not romantically, of course, not inappropriately, but just seen, valued, respected. Then came the night the power went out. A storm had rolled through, knocking out electricity in half the neighborhood. David, conveniently, was stuck at work. It was just me and Ryan at home. We lit some candles and sat in the living room, eating leftover lasagna and playing cards like kids at a sleepover. "Do you ever feel like you're just invisible?" I asked him. He looked at me, surprised. "All the time, especially growing up." "I feel like that now," I admitted. "You're not invisible to me, Rachel. I see you." And he meant it. I could tell. Something shifted inside me that night. Not in a romantic way, but in a healing way. For the first time in years, I felt safe. And ironically, it was my stepson who gave me that safety, not my husband. The next morning, I woke up to the sound of David yelling on the phone downstairs. I didn't catch every word, but I heard enough to know he was speaking to Trina again. That was the final straw. I packed a bag and left. Not forever, just enough to clear my head. I called my sister and stayed with her for a few days. During that time, Ryan texted me every day, asking if I was okay, offering to pick up anything I needed. He wasn't choosing sides. He was just being a decent human being. When I finally filed for separation, David barely put up a fight. It was as if he'd been waiting for the moment, too. We split things amicably, and I stayed in the house for a while until I could figure out where I wanted to go. Ryan came back that summer to help me move. I'll never forget the way he showed up early that morning, coffee in one hand, a smile on his face, and a full weekend blocked out just to help me. "I know this has been rough," he said while loading boxes into the moving truck. "But I'm proud of you for choosing yourself." It was such a simple statement, but it meant everything. Not many people in my life had ever said that to me. As time went on, Ryan and I stayed in touch. Even after he graduated and moved to another state for a job, he would still call, check in, and visit when he could. We built something real, a bond that wasn't forced by marriage but formed through shared respect and support. And now, looking back, I realized something profound. Sometimes, the people who come into your life unexpectedly are the ones who end up saving you. I asked my stepson for help during one of the lowest points in my life, and he didn't even hesitate. He didn't lecture me. He didn't judge. He simply stood by me, quietly and consistently, until I found the strength to stand on my own again. This isn't a story about scandal or betrayal. It's about resilience. It's about finding connection in unexpected places. And it's about how, sometimes, the best kind of love isn't romantic at all. It's the kind that simply says, "I see you. I'm here. And I care."